All right. So you're my very first VIP video. So pronounce your name for me. It's Kim Lang.
Yeah, it's actually Kim Lange,
Oh, okay.
so it's a more like a German name. But I think when I speak to Americans, it's Kim Lang. So that's good.
Mhm.
That's good enough. So,
Okay. Very good. So I wanted to. I will tell you, there's a couple of things that I'm doing as a part of the VIP.
yeah,
When I'm doing a Zoom with members, we may end up being visited by a special guest.
yeah,
Uh, we'll see. And there's another thing that I'm doing. You're old and you and I are very close in age, but
yeah,
I don't know if you're familiar with the Groucho Marx show that called You Bet Your Life. And during that show back in the 50s or 40s, whenever it was, Groucho would have guests on, and if they said the secret word during
yeah,
the show, then they would win something. So I've written a word inside this envelope. It's just an everyday word. If you say
yeah.
it during the Zoom, you'll get exclusive stuff mailed to you. So that I just want you to know I've written a word in here. So if you say it, and
Yeah.
it's not in the Beach Boys language.
All right.
So if you manage to say it, then you'll get extra stuff. So
Okay,
but I
that's
just want you
fine.
to know that up front.
Yeah,
So I was just going to pull up your card here because I wanted to refamiliarize myself with your answers and get to know you a little bit here.
yeah,
Okay, here we go. All right. Wow. So you've been a subscriber for quite a long time now, and
yeah.
going.
I just digged up this one.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
That's the, that's the first one that I have is from fall '91.
Okay,
So
so going back to Rick Edgell and Phil Mast.
yes, yes.
Oh, very good.
So
What have you enjoyed about ESQ the most through the years?
I think I have also been subscribing to some of the other Beach Boys uh, publications.
Yeah.
Uh, Beach Boys Stomp, and there was a German one called California Saga, and some of the other ones. But for sure, and the Summer Quarterly is has been the best always, and I think these days it's just phenomenal. I think what you're doing is so great,
Thank you.
especially in recent years where you have been digging up some of those, what you call it, peripheral persons to the Beach Boys
Yeah.
history. That's so interesting to hear those stories, because that's something you didn't hear before. Because
Mhm.
you know the traditional Beach Boys history. We heard it 120 times now. So, but these interesting persons that you dig up that's really so interesting to me, and it adds puzzles to or pieces to the puzzle. So
Mhm.
that's very interesting for me.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a great joy for me to be able to do it because I find out just as much as the readers do when I send out the magazine because I'm learning it as I go, once I make these connections with these people. Now,
Yeah.
what did you like about these last two editions, the summer and then the fall that dealt with the '85 album?
Yeah, I think the summer edition, I think that was mainly about the 1985
Hmm.
uh, album, and I think it was a lot of new things that I didn't know about that album. So this interview with Steve Levine was really interesting. So it's not my favorite album, I would have to say, but it was still interesting to learn about how it was done at that time.
Mhm.
Also to learn that probably Brian was quite difficult to work with at that point. So
Oh,
that
right. Yeah,
really,
as a result of him being with Dr. Landy.
yeah, yeah, and coming in not being able to sing, so we had to send him back to a vocal coach, and that was really interesting to learn about.
Mhm.
So I think that was a great addition.
Thank
And
you.
the latest, you just again you digged up some people that yeah, heard about them, but never really heard their story and
Yeah.
how they were connecting with the Beach Boys. So that was great, really great. That's a kind of stories that I really like I said before.
Mhm.
These guys, and
Well,
also here in the this special VIP edition that we got.
yeah.
Talking to Stephen Gaines, I think that's really that's really interesting. I would really like to hear more from him
Mhm.
because he's a very special character in the Beach Boys history. I think a lot
Oh,
of people.
yeah. I wish I'd gotten him to kind of he wanted to do his interview by email, and
Mm.
I run into that from time to time, and so it made it a little bit more difficult. When I have to write the questions for the person in an email, it makes it a little bit more clinical because
Yeah,
it's just they're just reading what I'm writing, and so the kind of the warmth that you might get in a conversation or the
yeah,
exchange that you would get in a conversation just isn't there. And it's just
no,
a little bit more cut and dry because you're asking a question, they're answering the question. I went back to him, I think, two or three times
yeah,
all told, and that was kind of the meat. He just he didn't want to. I kind of sensed a little bit of a resistance to kind of tell me everything.
okay,
So, and that's sometimes true. In this new fall edition that you just mentioned, I found that when it comes to the song "Chase in the Sky," that the songwriter Rand Bishop was far more open with his experience than Spencer
yeah,
Proffer was, who was the producer. Spencer seemed to be a little bit more guarded just from more of a professional standpoint, like because he's in the industry still, he's still a very sought after producer. I kind
yeah,
of sense that he really knows and understands how to maintain good relationships, so he was a little bit more guarded in terms of the way that he would say something or share it,
yeah,
because I thought Rand was very open, and
yeah.
I thought Malcolm Leo was very open too. He was great. He was
Yeah, that was also an interesting article, I think. Um, because and I immediately after I read it, I I found the DVD again, and 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 it was really nice to see it again and to also learn a little bit more about how it came about. So I think it was also very interesting. Again, one of those stories that you didn't hear before. So
Mm.
that's that's a really interesting thing about the Beach Boys, though, with its many years of history. There's always something new coming up, and that's interesting.
You told me that you know Pet Sounds is your favorite album, and it's I think it's such an integral and important album in the
Yeah, yeah.
music world. Uh, what other music by the group kind of captures your imagination? Maybe not in the same way that Pet Sounds does, but you know what else? I see that behind you up there, the smile looks like a bootleg slick. I'm a
That's
big
actually
fan of the smile.
that is actually a painting my
Oh,
daughter made
oh, no kidding!
when she was yeah, maybe 10, 12 years old. So
Oh my gosh.
she,
Well,
she gave it
that's interesting.
she gave it to me as a birthday present. So she had worked on that for like 3 months, And, so that was really funny.
Can you
Uh,
show it? Do you mind getting it and showing it to us?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is great.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Wow. And now, how old was she when she painted that?
Probably 12 or something.
Oh my gosh! Look at
So,
that.
that- so that
So,
was that's a very special gift.
yeah, I'll bet so. So she recognized at a very early age how much do you like the Beach Boys.
Yeah, yeah. She's grown up with with a father that was completely crazy about those guys. So she also knows about a lot about the Beach Boys for sure. And actually, I went with her to see Brian in Tivoli in Copenhagen when he was here.
When was that?
Is that maybe 3 years ago or something? On the
Okay.
3 4 years ago, the Pet Sounds tour uh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
in Tivoli in Copenhagen. So that was very nice. I went with with my daughter. uh,
Now, and when you went with your daughter, how old was she by that point?
uh 40 something. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, here we are years later, and she now had she seen the Beach Boys in concert or Brian in concert before that time?
I think maybe we took her to one of the concerts we saw here in Denmark. Uh,
Okay.
but I'm not really sure. The first time I saw them was in 1980,
Okay.
and that was also in Tivoli in Copenhagen.
Oh.
And that was very special because all of the six Beach Boys were
Hmm.
there.
Yeah, I
So
never got to see Dennis in concert, so that must have been really special. What do you remember about that show?
I remember I was quite shocked about seeing Brian and Dennis, how they looked. They didn't look very well.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so and I never seen them before, and
Oh,
at in 1980 you didn't see a lot of you didn't see there was no YouTube,
right.
there was not much to see. So when I came and saw the guys, I was really shocked to see Dennis and Brian, how they looked, because they really looked terrible at that time.
No, do you have any, are there anything stand out musically from that show that really kind of surprised you that was in their set list or that you really enjoyed?
Uh, I don't think it was mainly all the hits that they were doing, and then I think they did some from the 1980
Oh, Keeping the Summer Alive.
Even
Yeah.
the Summer Alive. They did a couple of songs from that album, but mainly it was all the hits.
Mhm.
And there was almost no Brian or Dennis uh, singing. So
Did Dennis end up doing his You Are So Beautiful?
yeah, he did. As far as I recall, he did it.
Okay.
Um, but Brian was almost not singing at all.
Okay.
But I think it's the same show as they did at the Networth that year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So uh, I have seen that. I have that DVD, and I think it's about the same show, but they were better at Networth than in Copenhagen. So, but it was really interesting, and there was so many people. It was also very let's say a surprise for me that because Beach Boys in Denmark, I didn't think they were that big, but I think there were 50,000 people in Tivoli. and you couldn't be anywhere.
Kim, we have a special guest joining us, none other than Probyn Gregory from Brian's band.
Oh,
Hey,
great. Hi, Robin.
hi Kim, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining.
Which country are you from?
I'm from Denmark.
Aha, I love
Denmark.
Denmark.
And I actually went to see you there in Tivoli, Copenhagen. I don't know if 3 or 4 years ago you went there with Brian and the Pet Sounds tour. Uh,
Yes.
I saw you there. I saw you there in Copenhagen.
Show,
Do you remember going to Copenhagen?
I love Copenhagen. There's that
Okay.
there's that church that you go to that it's a communal meal. I don't know if it's every night, but people
Yeah.
pitch in and either serve the food or cook the food, and it's just people from all over the world come to this. Is it Absalom? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, it could be Absalon. Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
a beautiful city. I love Copenhagen.
Yeah. It's really nice. I live about 30 miles away from Copenhagen, but we went there to see you and Brian, and that was a great show.
so Kim,
Super.
you have to show Probyn your shirt and then show Probyn the painting that your daughter did for you when she was 12. She's in her 40s now, Probyn.
Oh,
Yeah.
So he just got done showing me. Wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. Look at
oh
that.
my God, that's fantastic. I love it. That's
When she
great.
was 12.
Yeah, she made it for me when she was 12. She was like working on that painting for like 3 months, and she didn't show it to me, so it was a big surprise for me, and it's still one of my favorite Beach Boys artifacts that I have made by my daughter. So
Wow. Somewhere I have a t-shirt that Darian Sahanaja had on when I first met him. I saw him at a nightclub and he had on a Smile shirt. And I went up to
yeah.
him and I said, "Where did you get that shirt?" And he said, "I made it." And I
Oh,
said,
he made it
can you
himself.
make me one? And after that, we were friends.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you guys many times actually. Also, we went to London to see both Pet Sounds and Smile, and also went to see, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 other shows in London. So I've been traveling a lot to see you guys. So
Wow.
it was
You
all.
didn't, by any chance, I remember we played once in Aarhus.
No, I didn't. Yeah, that was a reunion tour. I think
2012, you mean?
2012 reunion tour in Aarhus.
Maybe. That
Yeah,
could be that it was
yeah,
2012. Yes.
yeah. That was a reunion tour. I went there too, of course. So that was also that's probably number 3 or 4 on my list of Beach Boys, Brian Wilson shows, because
Wow.
that feeling of seeing all those the old guys together again, and also together with you guys from Brian's
Yeah.
band, and that was a really a big revelation. Oh, I don't know the word, but it was when you came on stage, it was just everything coming together again. That was really nice, really nice.
I remember the rehearsals for that tour. It was the first time that I'd ever been with some of the original voices. Like there's Al Jardine, who
Yeah,
I mean, I'd met him, but I'd never played in the band with him. And of course, Mike Love with Brian.
yeah,
Sadly, of course, we were missing Carl and Dennis, but
yeah.
Bruce was there and David Marks was there. And it had such a great feeling. Like, we in the Brian Wilson band, I think we sing pretty well. It's not bad.
Yeah,
But we're
yeah.
not the Beach Boys. We don't sound like
No,
them. There's no one that can sound like them.
no. It must have been something very special to see those guys again together. Mike and Al
Yeah.
and Brian together again. I think it was such a nice feeling for me to see all of you together on stage. So that was a great experience.
It was special. It was a
Yeah,
Yeah.
special tour.
it was. But the best show I've seen was Smile, 2004 in London, the premiere.
Yes.
That was almost, I don't know, everything came together. I think
Yes.
I wrote to David that when you started, the first part of the show was some of the hits and all that, and it seemed like Brian was very nervous and he was not singing very well. And then there was just a short break, and you came in and started up on Smile, and it seemed like Brian was completely changed. He was really on top of it, and he was singing so good. And to me, having heard those songs on, I don't how many CDs I have from shady CDs, and then to hear it all come together, it was just a spiritual experience for me. I was almost crying. It was so
Oh,
good. But that's the best show I ever seen. So that was really good.
yeah. That was, even for the band, that was a magical moment, especially the very first night, because we weren't even sure that Brian was going to be able to keep his head together. He might have walked off stage or have forgotten things or gotten so nervous that
Yeah. He
something
must have been
bad
very
happened.
worried.
But you know what? It all came together, and all of that hard work paid off. And luckily, it really looked at the end of that first show like Brian had a weight taken off of his shoulders.
Yes, yes.
It really seemed like that he had gotten rid of this demon.
From the audience side, it really looked like that, like something was taking off his shoulders. It was so fantastic. And I can imagine he must have been very nervous.
Yes, he was. We all were. Every one of us in the band was very nervous.
Yeah.
Most of us didn't even have music to look at. We just memorized the whole thing. I mean, almost everyone in the band was going from one instrument to the other. For instance, at some point I had to bang a piece of sheet metal and then I had to go over and play a little bit of keyboard on something. And then I was playing guitar, and then everyone's changing around, singing different parts and moving to different parts of the stage. And it was a lot of things to remember for Smile.
Yeah, it was such a great achievement, I think. And I think, I don't know if it's the real Smile, but I think it to me it just seemed like this is how it's supposed to be. And I also think, wow, so that fits in there, so that fits in there. So it was really so great. So thank you very much for that experience. That was
Oh, you're so welcome. I was
yeah.
happy to be part of it.
So now you are with Al.
Well, yes, Al at the moment has three different bands. There's a trio that they call Storytellers. That's him, Al, and his son Matt. And in this case, it's Debbie Scher on keys as the third person. And then there's a larger band called the Endless Summer Band, and I'm in that one. That has Bobby Figueroa on drums and Ed Carter on bass and me on guitar, added to the existing trio. So that makes six all told. And then there's an even larger band, which is called the Friends and Family. And that has
Yeah.
Carney and Wendy. And because it's friends and family, of course, they're using Carney's husband, Rob Bonfilio, as the guitar player. So
Okay.
I might have been in that band, but because it's the family and Rob is married in, then
Yeah.
he goes. Although one time about a year ago, I substituted for him in the larger Friends and Family band, and that was fun with Carney and Wendy, because of course they sing very well and they bring a lot of entertainment to the show. So
Yeah.
I have been playing with Al this year. I've probably done, I don't know, 6 or 7 shows with him, with a few more coming up. I think there's a cruise. We're going to go down to near south to Aruba from the song
Okay.
Kokomo. You have Aruba. We're going to Aruba with the
Yeah.
Al show.
That's the bad part of being in Europe, that you cannot go to see those shows, because I would really like to see one of Al's shows, because he's
Yes, I'm hoping that either Al will come to Europe, or there's talk of some other possible lineup to do with the Brian Wilson band. Maybe I don't know, that we may not try. It's possible that we might get a bigger band with Al going, and I would love to come to Europe again. Love to.
I would go anywhere in Europe to see that, for sure. Like I said, I've been traveling to London a lot of times to see Brian's band, and also to see Beach Boys. So been to Germany to see them, to Sweden. So I would go anywhere to see you and Al's band. That would be nice, really nice. Tell him we will come. All of the fans from you.
I'll tell him. I think it's all about the numbers. It's trying to make the finances work, of making the tour viable.
I think a lot of people would show up for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Probyn, one of Kim's favorite songs is "You Still Believe in Me" from Pet Sounds.
Ah.
And I was wondering if you could talk to him a little bit about, performing that live and what that's like, and how, what instruments you work on when you're performing that.
So, "You Still Believe in Me," that has two 12-string guitar parts on it. And when Nick Walusko was still alive, he and I very carefully worked out those parts. We had access to some of the tapes from the vault at Capitol Records, and maybe even some from Brother Records, where you could hear the instruments only without the vocals. And sometimes there was even them. I think Glenn Campbell might have been one of the people playing the original part on that. You could hear Glenn and whoever the other guitar player was. It might have been Jerry Cole or Tommy Tedesco. You could hear them talking about, okay, you do this and you do that, and based on Brian's idea. So we were able to play those guitar parts. In fact, hold on, I have a guitar right here. Let me pull one out. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but
all right. That's great.
So one of the parts, let's see, unfortunately I cut my thumb last night, so it's a little hard to hold the guitar pick. Let's see if I can even do it. Can you hear that guitar at all?
Yeah.
That part right there was Nick's part on that song, and my part in the main verse was.
Yeah.
So together, the two of them made that, with the reverb, made that wonderful part. And you know that the very intro is I think Tony Asher said that he was one of the people that was holding down the notes of the hold pedal on the piano while someone reached in with the guitar pick and made the intro.
Yeah. So they plucked it from directly from the piano. Yeah, I read that. So
I think it was Brian who did the plucking.
Oh, maybe it was.
If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's what I read. So
I remember. I think there's even an outtake in the sessions. It may not have been in the '97 box set, but I think maybe the latter one. I know I've heard a session where Brian is laughing while doing that, because Chuck, he must be seeing Chuck Britz in the booth going, making some sort of face like, what are you trying to record? And you can hear Brian chuckle, because he was, it was kind of like, Brian's kind of like, I know what I'm doing. You didn't say that, but you kind of got that sense. He's like, bear with me, Chuck. We're going to get there. So it's cool.
And Chuck
that was
Briggs must,
when he was
yeah.
on top. I
I'm sorry,
think
what
when
was on
he was
top?
on top, he was amazing, really amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another story about that song. So at the end, there's a bicycle horn that goes, ah, ah, you know,
Yeah.
and we found a bicycle horn, but it was in the wrong key. It wasn't the right note. It only made one note, and it was the wrong note. So I was fiddling around with the bicycle horn, and I found that if I put my finger inside the bell of it, and if
Yeah.
I put my finger in far enough, it changed it to be the right note. So I thought, well, what is the size of my finger? Well, it turned out that a clothespin to put, clothing on the line, a clothespin was about the size of my finger. So I took a titanium drill bit and I drilled through the bicycle horn and the clothespin, and I screwed it into place. So
Okay.
we had a special bicycle horn that was altered just for that song, just for "You Still Believe in Me" at the end. And Nelson would play it every night. Chug it, chug.
Now, Kim, do you remember the original title of "You Still Believe in Me"?
There was something like in my childhood.
Yes, that's it. In my
Well,
childhood.
I don't think I know that. What was it?
In my childhood.
Ah.
So that's what the bike bell was for, because at the beginning
Aha.
it's the bike bell, and at the end it's the horn, and that's, so I guess as a working title he called it "In My Childhood."
That's right. Now that you say that, I remember I've seen that before.
It's like California Girls was originally called I'm the grass, you're the lawnmower, or something to that effect.
Wow,
No, you're the grass.
that I've never heard.
You're the grass and I'm the power mower. That's what it was. Or I'm the grass and you're the power mower. It was one of those. It was, well, no, it's in the session. He actually says it during the session. It's such a strange, he's just making up something so they can write something down so they have something to call it. But it's still such a funny thing for him to for Brian to just kind of throw off the top of his head like that.
Wow.
But it seems like there must have been some words to that "In My Childhood" song, because since they recorded the track with those children.
I don't know that there ever were. Because I don't ever remember reading anything in terms of interviews with Tony Asher or Brian where there was ever a statement by either about lyrics existing for that song. I think it's one of those cases where Brian needed to have a working title or something for them to kind of catalog it on the tape, on the box. So he just said "In My Childhood" because he had the bicycle horn and the bell. So
that's a great story.
Well, I mean, and even on even the song "Pet Sounds" originally started as "Run James Run" because Brian had the idea that he would submit it for a James Bond film.
Yeah.
So he had so many ideas back then. I'm still astounded to this day by the fact that the Beach Boys recorded, produced, and released 12 albums in 4 years. That's such a significant.
Wow, I didn't know it was that big in 4 years. So that averaging 3 albums a year, that's amazing.
I know.
I don't think the Beatles were that bad.
No.
It's no wonder Brian kind of just said, "I'm going to take my time with Pet Sounds," because he just was at such a rate of productivity that he needed to kind of just hold on here. Let me take some time with this one.
Yeah.
And think about 12 albums and the quality of those albums. That's really amazing, because it's not like it's just fillers, and it was just great albums, most of them.
And in '63 he was also producing other acts, so you take that into account. I mean, there's no one else in music history that even touches that productivity, that much songwriting, that much arrangement, that much producing. Brian is just I don't know if unheralded is the right word, but he's just completely untouched in that category.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Really
a one-man army.
Yeah. Can I ask you something, Probyn? When you were touring with Brian, did you get close to Brian, or how was it being in that band?
Well, I have to say that Brian is a sort of a difficult person to get to know. He's generally pretty quiet, and he likes to keep to himself. He loves playing the piano, or maybe not. It's a little hard to say these days. I mean, in modern times, in the 2020s, things have changed, and it could be that we've seen the end of Brian performing. We don't know yet, but it sure looks that way. But I will say that it took him a while to remember our names. When the band first formed in 1999, he would just say, "Hey, hey, you, can you play that guitar line?" And I mean, this was a month after we'd met him and we'd been rehearsing, and that was fine. I came in with that knowledge that he might not, that he was a little bit different from most other people, and that he might not remember things the way, and that was fine. But I did get to know him pretty well, I think, and as well as you can know Brian. I'd give him back rubs. We'd joke with him on the bus about baseball, Mickey Mantle, old, he had his favorite players. And of course, he loved to eat. So getting him in any sort of a situation with food is always a good thing.
That's the way to Brian's heart. That's true.
Pretty much. If you have a good steak, well made, then you're in good shape.
Looking good for a bite.
Oh, the famous story of the looking good for a bite.
You must also have been a little bit surprised that how long it actually went on. I think you started with him in, was that
99, 98, 99?
99 for me. I think Jeff Foskett might have been there, and some of the Chicago people were involved with Brian with the Imagination album in 98. But I joined in 99, so that was 23 good years. That was a pretty good run, considering that at the very beginning, we were not sure that he was going to make it past the first 3 shows. He was so nervous, and he wanted to sleep in his own bed, so they would take him home. So they couldn't drive too far away from his house, because he wanted to be in his house after the show, which happened the first 3 shows.
So he actually played much longer with his own band than with the Beach Boys in the 60s, because he was only
That's
playing.
funny. I'd never thought of that, but you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
He was only playing with Beach Boys for like 4 or 5 years, and then it was on off.
Yeah.
So if you went 23 years, that's really amazing. Very interesting. Very interesting. I remember I went to see you in Stockholm. Playing there. We were staying at the same hotel in Stockholm. Or was it Gothenburg? I think maybe.
I can't remember the hotel. I'm not even sure if I remember where we played.
But But I saw Brian come down in the elevator together with Jeff Foskett, and he looked like a zombie at that time. I was very sad to see that, but then
he was probably just sleepy.
Yeah, because when we went to the show a couple of hours later, and he was just doing very well. So that was a strange experience to see him like almost like a zombie, like almost like he was not awake. And then he came to the show, and the show was great. So that was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But a very special person, I guess.
He is a very special person, very special. I'm very honored that I have got to work with him. I mean, because I was such a fan. He was one of my heroes when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And then to not only meet him, but then to finally be able to work with him, it was like, wow. Really blew my head off.
It must be, that must be really amazing for you.
I can't think of anyone better suited to do it, Probyn. I mean, Kim, one of the great privileges I had in 2011 in Georgia. Probyn took us onto me and a couple of friends onto stage, and he took the
Yeah.
time to show us the different instruments that he played. Everything to
Mhm.
the little handmade electro theremin that he had, the French horn, and all the different variations. He was talking about it earlier, how he would have to switch from one instrument to the other when he was doing the Smile material. And it's amazing, as I'm sure you noticed, Kim, during the Pet Sound shows or the Smile shows or even the Beach Boys reunion tour, how much those guys hop around.
Yeah.
Some of them, they're kind of relegated to one instrument, maybe like Mike D'Amico being on drums. But
Yeah.
Probyn is one of those guys that can kind of, Probyn, tonight you're playing 7 instruments. Okay, as long as I know where they are. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have actually noticed that what a multi-instrumentalist Probyn is. So that was
Yes.
really
Truly
great.
great. Truly great.
It's fun. It keeps it interesting, just in case I was ever bored, which I'm not. And people ask me, they said, "You must be sick of doing California Girls, or Do It Again, or some song that I played literally hundreds, if not 1,000 times, seriously." And
Yeah.
the answer is no. I'm not sick of them yet because it's still great music.
So true.
Did you also go to that Grammy salutes?
Yes, I was in the house band
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
Grammy salute. I had
Yeah.
they made me wear a Greek fisherman's cap, and I was sort of off
Yeah.
on the side. I didn't get much camera time, but I just like in the Brian band, I played a bunch of different instruments in that. I played pedal
Yeah.
steel, French horn, trombone,
Kim,
classical guitar.
you'll have to go to the ESQ site and look at, or I'll send you the link. I'll make sure I send you the link. Probyn actually wrote a piece about playing in the band for us
Yeah. Yeah.
that we
I
posted
think.
on the ESQ site.
Yeah.
And
I read it.
oh, okay, yes, because he sent, I think you sent a picture of some of the instruments or your little corner
Yeah.
nook that you had and the
Right.
set list, and it was intriguing. It was really great to kind of have that perspective, because when you ever watch anything like that, all that we have is kind of what the cameras want us to see,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so it was a great insight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know if that show will come out in as a DVD?
I don't know. I know that Paramount Plus is the people that shot that, and they may own it. I don't know if they're in the habit of releasing DVDs of shows that they've done. If I was them, I would. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the chances are good that at some point it will be available on a DVD.
Yeah, then we could see it in Europe too, because I haven't seen it. Only some of those YouTube
Oh
videos.
gosh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because Paramount Plus is here in this.
I like
Well,
to see
Funny, I
the
thought I
clip
heard
there.
from some English fan that they had seen it, but maybe that was they made some special arrangement with the network, or I don't know. I'm not. I thought I heard an English person had seen it, but maybe
Oh,
not.
yeah, but that's something I'm still looking forward to see that show. So did you meet Brian at that time?
Not before the show. The only person I saw beforehand was Al and his wife Marianne. Um, I hung out a little bit with John Stamos. He was there.
Yeah.
In fact, John Stamos appeared on camera. He gave a little speech before one of the segments.
Yeah.
But I did see them all. I saw David Marks and Bruce and Mike and Al and Brian were all in a booth. From my point on stage, I could see them up off to the side.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like being at the Royal Festival Hall when you're in the Queen's booth,
Yeah.
which is near the
Yeah.
stage. So the position of royalty was taken by the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. They are some kind of rock royalty for
yeah,
sure.
well deserved. Yeah, well they are. That's we love their music and we listen to it so much. But it's a great. That event was a great reminder of
Yeah.
just really, the level of esteem that they're held in by the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like to see that show.
Well, Probyn, thank you. I really do appreciate you hopping on to join us. Kim,
Big thank you from my side. Thank you very much. What a great surprise. Thank you very much. Very nice to speak to you.
And you too. And you have a really nice day. You guys.
You too. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Kim. Well,
Thank you.
did
Thank
you
you very
enjoy
much,
that?
David. That was a big surprise. Very nice.
Well, Probyn is just a terrific guy, and you know, he's as kind a soul as he is a great instrumentalist. I mean, you know, he's certainly one of a kind, and yeah, he's
Yeah, you can
wonderful
feel
guy.
that when you see the shows. He's just such a great player too. So
Mhm.
very nice to talk to him. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, well, this is a part of the whole, you know, when ESQ, when myself and Lee Dempsey worked on this idea of these VIP memberships, you know, the idea was to make them, you know, provide you, the subscriber, with a unique experience. And I hope that with the PDF that you got so far, and then
Uh,
this Zoom with Probyn has started things off in the right direction for you.
but now it's already worth it. If we
Good. Mission
but yeah.
accomplished. Mission